Hey, so welcome back, guys. We are going to be learning about something new today. Is that a pretty good introduction? I'm really excited to share with you dilations. Now think about dilations. Dilations, your eyes dilate. So if I have my eye, which eye is it? This one? Watch it. It's in the dark right now. So what do you think is going to happen to my pupil? It's going to dilate. It's going to get really big because it's in the dark. And it's going to dilate and get really small because it's in the light. Have you ever had your eyes dilated at the doctor? Well, that's kind of what we're talking about. We're talking about shapes getting bigger or getting smaller. I'm going to show you a really simple way to do this. We're going to be doing this on a coordinate plane. And our points are, we have A, B, C, and D. A is at the coordinates 1, 1. B is at 1, 2. C is at 2, 2. 2, 2. Like tutus, I dress up in tutus on the weekends. Don't tell anybody else. D is at 2, 1. So we want to dilate the shape by, let's say by 3. So 3 times. We're going to make this 3 times the size. So since our box here is 1 by 1, it's going to end up being 3 by 3. All right, so the way we're going to do this is you're going to take a ruler, stuff falling everywhere. You're going to take a ruler, you're going to start from here at 0, 0. You're going to take this ruler and line it up with all the different points on our picture, and you're going to draw a line. So I'm going to line this up here. Draw a line. Now on your paper, it's going to be easier to draw this line. It's going to be easier. Okay, so now I have my lines all lined up with the middle point and all of my other points that make up my shape. What's going to happen now is I'm going to count and multiply. So I've got to think to myself, okay, how far is each point from the center point? Well, point A is 1 square diagonal away. All right, so now that since I'm making it 3 times the size, well, I got to make this go 3 times the distance away from that center point. So instead of just 1, it's going to be 1, 2, 3 away from the center. So notice, from the middle to A was only 1 diagonal. Well, now it's 3. Okay, we're going to do this for each point. We're going to multiply its distance by 3. So point C is 1, 2 diagonals away. So 2 times 3 is going to be 6. So I got to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to be all the way out here. And again, I'm going to label. I got A prime. I got C prime. And then notice that A and C both are still on this line that I drew, right? I'm not skipping a different line. So point B. Well, this is where it kind of gets tricky, but don't let it freak you out. I'll show you a simple way to do this. Notice from the center point to B, we got to go up 2 over 1. So up 2 over 1. Well, how many times do you think we're going to do that? I'm going to do it 3 times. So I'm going to go up 2 over 1. That's where B is originally. I'm going to go up 2 over 1. Then up 2 over 1 to make 1, 2, 3 of those. So I have point B prime. And for point D, you guessed it, we're going to do the same thing, except we go over 2 and up 1. We're going to do this 3 times. Over 2, up 1, over 2, up 1, and find out that D prime is on my line that D was on originally. And then look, I can connect all my points. And now I have a square that is 3 times the size as my original. So I go from 1 by 1 to 3 by 3. Something hanging on my shirt. Oh my goodness. Take that off. All right, so that's great. So this is an example of dilating, making something bigger, making something much larger. But does everything only get larger? Think about Mario. He goes from being really small, eats a mushroom, gets really big. And then he hits a Goomba, goes back to being really small. So I have to explain to you what happens or how we do this to make something smaller. Okay, so dilate. It can mean make something bigger or make something smaller. So usually when we make something bigger, it's a whole number, like 3. So I make it 3 times the size. If we want to make something smaller, what do you think we're going to use? What is small? So I have a whole pizza. That's 1 whole pizza. Well, what's half? Oh, half of the pizza. How do I write that? Well, I write it as a fraction. So I want to dilate the shape by 1/2. So I'm going to make it 1/2 times the size. So I'm going to start off with a shape ABC. And guess what? We're going to do this just like we did with making the image bigger. We're going to just make this smaller. We're going to connect some lines. We're going to make some straight lines. Go straight through. All right, so there's A, we call this B, and it's gonna be C. So I'm gonna have lines that go all the way straight through because these lines are kind of our guides. Our points are gonna end up on these lines. So we gotta think to ourselves, all right, it's gonna be half the size. Well, it's gonna be half the distance from this middle point. Okay, so B, how far is it away? Well, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 diagonals away. So what's half of 4? 2. So I only have to go 1, 2 diagonals away. And that is where my new B is. All right. Then let's see for C. How far away is that? Well, these diagonals get kind of confusing. So you can do 2 things. You can either measure it out by measuring it with a ruler. You can also count these diagonals, and let's see. Let's go half the distance for both of them. So we can do this as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's 8 this way, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4 that way. So we can do half of each. So half of 8 is 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And then half of 4 is 2, so I'm going to go up 1, 2. I'm going to be right here. So that's going to be my new C. Another thing you might notice is how long was this length of this line? Well, it was 1, 2, 3, 4. So half of that length is going to be 2. So my point should be 2 points away. Now, the other thing we can do here is since we know that this point, how far is it away? Well, to get to that point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's 6. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's 8. So what is half of 6? It's 3. And what's half of 8? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's what's going to be right there. Again, it's right on our line. And that's A prime. We can connect these. And now you have a triangle that is exactly half the size of your original triangle. Or you can have this triangle, and it's 2 times as big to make this triangle. One other thing I want to show you that's really interesting is point A here was at 6, 8. Well, to get to point A prime, what you can do is just take this coordinate, cut it in half. Half of 6 is 3 and half of 8 is 4. So A prime should be at 3, 4. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, look at that. So you can just take your coordinates from your original object, and you can just divide those by 2 or divide them by 8 or whatever that's telling you to do and get the new coordinates for each. Or if you're trying to make it bigger, just either multiply them by 2 or 3 or whatever it's telling you to dilate that shape by. All right. So basically that's how to make a shape bigger or smaller. And that's gonna be very helpful for you on Friday, because guess what's on Friday? You got CMAS all over again. Just kidding. You have a quiz. And just to give you a heads up, where's it at? Here it is. Be sure that you have an example here. It should say dilations. All right. Whoa, where's it at? Oh, there it is. Dilations. And on this flap, what should you have? Not a blank sheet like I have. You should have the notes of your dilations. Something like this would be very helpful. Probably use some graph paper. I would. And then once you finish all that note taking and all that fun stuff, I have some, what do you call it? Practice for you. So I would probably do that if you want to get great on Friday. Hope you had a great weekend. Now get to work.